Welcome in, everyone. Okay, so this paper just ruined my evening, and I'm gonna show it to you any second now. There is a device in your home right now, and it is recording how you move around your house, and it's tracking you, and you probably put it there yourself, and you're probably paying the monthly bill for it. It is your Wi-Fi router. And the people who can read it don't need your Wi-Fi password. They don't need anything special. They only need to be close and have a laptop. Let me tell you more about it. Okay, I have been working professionally with Wi-Fi for about 20 years now. Not just home Wi-Fi, but also outdoor wireless and all kinds of stuff. And there is this really cool technology called beamforming, and this is the basis of the paper that we are going to talk about and the basis of the surveillance system that can be used to track how you move around your house, who is who inside the house, and etc. So the basics, the really basics about how Wi-Fi works and how the Wi-Fi waves propagate is that the Wi-Fi router basically sends a wave, and it's not really a camera that can see you, but the signal that gets broadcast from the Wi-Fi device gets bounced off of the various objects in your house, and it comes back into the router in different forms, shapes. I'm trying to simplify as much as I can, but suffice to say that the Wi-Fi device can feel the differences in how the signal reflects back into the antenna. So one of the biggest basically downsides of the previous versions of Wi-Fi up to Wi-Fi 4 was that signal was transmitting in a very omnidirectional way, like it just goes and comes back. So if a device is turned in an awkward position or something, like the antenna is not really well placed, I guess, then the signal would be suboptimal. Do you remember one year when Apple told people about how iPhone 4 had a low signal and Apple said, "You're holding it wrong"? Yeah, that's it. That's the technology that we are kind of talking about. So in Wi-Fi 5, a beamforming technology was introduced, and the simplest way I can explain it to you is that the Wi-Fi router has multiple antennas, the more the better, and it sends out the signal with more than just one antenna in different directions with different strengths, and this signal bounces back from all kinds of obstacles and also from the clients who are basically talking to you, to the Wi-Fi router. So let's say that you have like 9 antennas. Some of the routers have hidden antennas. Don't think they have only one. They can be really small, but they are turned in different directions. So when the Wi-Fi antennas send signal and your device sends something back, some of these antennas will feel that the signal is a lot stronger on the antenna 3, on the antenna 6, on the antenna 9, and it will use the same antennas to continue communicating with that Wi-Fi device. But all of the antennas are practically working all of the time, and they do various things in the background. Some of the antennas are not used actively to communicate with the Wi-Fi client, such as your laptop or your phone, but these antennas may be used to counter the noise in the opposite direction, which in turn makes the signal from your phone better to be heard by the Wi-Fi access point. Something like noise cancellation, but in terms of radio waves. And I really don't want to bug you with too much detail about how technically this works, but suffice to say that beamforming technology is really good. It's really good. The basis of good Wi-Fi communication is not signal strength, it is actually signal to noise ratio. And if you have ever seen SNR nomenclature anywhere in any papers, that's it, because there is always noise and there is always the signal, and the strength of your Wi-Fi communication is not the signal strength, it's actually the signal to noise ratio. So if the signal is constant from your phone, but you manage to somehow decrease the noise, then your signal is now stronger, but it's called signal to noise ratio. This is what beamforming does as one of the things that it's serving for. Now, the whole thing about surveillance that I'm going to talk about isn't really new. Researchers have been using Wi-Fi to track moving objects for many years. It's just about how easy it has become nowadays. I'm going to give you a really easy, tangible example of radio waves measuring an object in the distance. You're speeding down the road with your car, and a police officer has a device which transmits radio waves towards you, and this radio wave reflects back from your car to the measurement device. And then this device sends another radio wave at you, measures the time that it takes for this radio wave to go back into the measurement device. That's now 2 measurements, and we can now measure how much time has passed since you have gone from this position to this position, and then you can make a third measurement, and this all happens in milliseconds, and multiple measurements will be made, and from this you can really easily extrapolate the speed of your car. That's the most rudimentary way that I can explain this. A very similar thing is happening with the Wi-Fi beamforming technology. It's just that this one is a lot more complex in how it works, because it bounces back and forth from many of the obstacles in your house. As I told you a couple of minutes ago, the way that beamforming works in your Wi-Fi router is by having multiple antennas which transmit multiple different signals towards your client. And let's say that your client is a phone, a smartphone, and your smartphone basically tells the Wi-Fi router back how this signal looks at the client's end, what is around it in terms of the background noise, how the background of the room bends the signal, and stuff like that. This is called the Beamforming Feedback Information, BFI. There is a lot of data in BFI, and this is the thing that I want you to remember out of this entire video. BFI is completely unencrypted. Anyone, literally anyone in your vicinity can record your BFI information from your Wi-Fi access point to your phone, to your laptop, whatever. Now, don't get it wrong. Nobody really designed the BFI to be a surveillance tool. It just turns out that BFI contains a lot of information about the physical environment and the people moving through this physical environment. And today, in the age of AI and a lot of the models that can analyze a lot of data, this is becoming really easy to analyze. Basically, see as Daredevil. Do you remember that superhero? He had an accident when he was young, and basically his hearing became a super hearing, and he could use pretty much beamforming to see around himself with his ears. Okay, enough me talking, let me read a little bit to you. Researchers at Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, one of Germany's top technical universities, built a system called BFID. They got 127 volunteers, had them walk around in different ways, recorded Wi-Fi the whole time, and fed the data into a neural network. The result: 99.5% accuracy. Not 20%, not 60, 99.5% accuracy identifying which specific person was walking across different speeds, across a lot more than 100 people. Accuracy of 99.5% identifying which person is which, just by listening to the environment through your Wi-Fi radio waves. Okay, there has been some work prior to this. It was called CSI, Channel State Information. To collect CSI, you need a special network card running custom, unofficial firmware, obscure hardware, hacked software, not something a normal person can put together. So there was some kind of attempts at Wi-Fi surveillance, but it wasn't that easy to utilize. BFI, standard laptop, standard Wi-Fi adapter, any modern device, the barrier has just collapsed. In security work, they call this weaker adversary model, meaning the attacker needs less skill, less money, less equipment. Every time that bar drops, what used to be a thought experiment becomes something somebody actually does. Now here's what bothers me. Here's what actually woke me up. You can turn off location tracking. You can use a VPN. You can leave your phone at home. You can tape over your webcam. You cannot opt out of this. The signal that gives you away, you're not really controlling it. It's coming from your neighbor's router. It's coming from your nearby cafe. It's coming from your other neighbor router. It's coming from the Wi-Fi router in the building you just walk past by. The researchers point out what this looks like in an authoritarian state. There is a protest. The government doesn't need cameras on every corner. If there is a Wi-Fi nearby, and there always is, the routers around that protest can identify who was there just from how they walk. No phones required, no facial recognition model, no knowledge from the people being tracked that any of it is actually happening. And right now there is no defense, none that you can buy or download. The only countermeasures researchers have tested require hardware that doesn't exist in consumer devices, and they slow your connection down. There is no router settings, there is no firmware update coming next Tuesday. This is structural. There is a new Wi-Fi standard being designed right now, 802.11bf. It's specifically built around Wi-Fi sensing as a feature. The researchers' real argument is this: if privacy isn't baked into that standard from the start, then every router deployed for the next decade becomes a passive surveillance node in every home, every office, every cafe. That is a structural decision being made right now by standards bodies with almost no public attention. That's why I'm making this video, not so that you throw out your router, it's just that you become aware of this, and basically the only way to fix this is if enough people know about it, and while there is still time to fix it. Okay, one more thing. The infrastructure for reading the physics of the rooms we live in is already installed in almost every space you spend your day. Whether that becomes a privacy nightmare or just a footnote in some research paper depends on what gets built into the next generation of these standards, and nobody is going to fight for that on our behalf if we don't know it is happening. If you find this video useful, please share it with someone who thinks that only social media and apps on your phones are a privacy problem. Links to the original paper and kit press release will be linked down below. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.